Another day involving. Well, apparently the Doobie Brothers are calling Mike Harmon.
No, that's
apparently.
right.
They're calling the dude. Was that? Oh no, that was Little Earth, Wind and Fire.
That
right?
was a Little Earth,
Was
Wind,
that
and Fire.
Okay,
yeah.
very good. Okay, whose ringtone is Earth, Wind and Fire on yours? Who is that?
It's just a normal notification.
Oh, it's not. You don't have your personalized ringtones, so you know who's calling you. Oh, okay.
Because "See You in Hell" would be yours.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I kind of like that.
My apologies. Hit mute.
I thought you would go back, loser.
Mute.
Do you remember the 21st of September? Now, let's get to the latest because this is what makes me nervous now, incredibly nervous. Aaron Rodgers had his big comeback today on the Pat McAfee Show for Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, who does his monologue last night that eviscerates Aaron Rodgers. This all stems from the feud they've had with each other over the vaccine for COVID-19 and Aaron Rodgers' various conspiracy theories. Last week, of course, Aaron Rodgers intimated that Jimmy Kimmel's not going to like when the Jeffrey Epstein list comes out, which is whoa. I told you last week, Rodgers is going to have to apologize on Tuesday. Well, then Jimmy Kimmel comes out Monday night and just totally lights into Aaron Rodgers, and I said, well, I don't know that we're getting the apology today from Aaron Rodgers. While he did backtrack a little bit, this was the general sense and what we got from Aaron Rodgers in the feud that does continue.
And I said, a lot of people, and I'm quoting myself here, a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't come out. End quote. That's what I said. That's the entire quote. Okay? I was referring to the fact that if there is a list, which again, this hasn't come out yet, this was just a deposition,
if there's
right?
A list. Okay.
And there are names on it, then that would be the second time that a soft brain junior college student, wacko, anti-vax, anti-Semite, purveyor, spreader of misinformation, conspiracy theorist, MAGA, whatever other things have been said by him and other people in the media would be right twice.
Okay, so he backtracks a little bit because I didn't say that Jimmy's going to be on the list, just said that Jimmy Kimmel is nervous when the list comes out. Then he goes on to say that if I'm right, I'll be the second time I'll be right. What do you mean if you're right? You could throw out any name, and if they're on the list, yes, but there's no evidence of anything. And I'm shocked that even though we backtracked, this is what we're getting. And now this has been furthered. And you had McAfee talking about other ESPN executives. For all of you, Pat McAfee's a new ESPN. Just wait. Just wait and see how this plays out. I'm telling you, how much longer can the guy really be there? But this is what concerns me about Aaron Rodgers now, Mike, is that, this is my quarterback, man. This is my quarterback. This is the guy taking us to the promised land.
Hey, no BS, no nonsense. It's all about football this year.
This is what I'm afraid of because Rodgers is someone who every year things get more difficult, right? Things got more difficult as time went on in Green Bay, and finally they said, all right, we're going to trade you. First year in New York, it was a honeymoon, but he was on his best behavior. Maybe he got antsy. Tuesdays is his game day, and I'm just going to get really chesty and say all kinds of things. He went on today to talk a lot about vaccines and how he thought about, and this was not at all, what ESPN is hoping Aaron Rodgers is going to talk about on ESPN. So when you sit here and tell me, oh, no, they got the power, yeah, trust me, you don't know what you're talking about. Just wait it out. But this is what I'm nervous about because now this is Rodgers. This is now I feel that he's finding his outside voice right now. Okay, now I'm in New York. I'm comfortable. I'm finding my outside voice. And now the Jets are just going to be in survival mode, where it's going to be every Tuesday afternoon, it's going to be, what does he say? Or every day it's wake up, what did Aaron Rodgers say? Did he say something that we have to worry about, that we have to distance ourselves from? And this is a guy who just a day ago said the BS has to leave the building, and instead I'm out here talking about vaccines and conspiracy and Jeffrey Epstein and all this stuff. I mean, this is what I'm worried about. This is what the Jets got now. Now the Jets bought it. Last year was supposed to be the best year. He barely hit the field. And now I have to worry every day, what's Rodgers going to say? What's he going to say? Is he going to say something? When's he going to say something that's going to completely blow up on him? When's he going to get mad at the Jets for something? When is he going to get mad at something? And now that's where we're at. And the whole thing with Rodgers was every year I felt the first year was going to be the best, right? Like when the Mets signed Max Scherzer. It was going to be the first year was going to be the best, but then he's kind of breaking down. The second year is not going to be as good as the first. The third year is going to be terrible, right? And that's where it's going with Mets, exactly how it's going with Max Scherzer. First year with the Mets was good. Second year was terrible. They traded him. Now he's hurt again, and who knows when he's going to actually pitch, for the Rangers this year. They won the World Series basically without him. Last year was supposed to be the best year with Aaron Rodgers. Now you have a second year where you're adding his comeback and now all this drama that he seems very comfortable causing. And for a guy that said the BS has to leave the building, dude, you're the guy going on TV and the Jets are sitting here saying, do we have to talk to you about this? Do we have to not? Do we have to distance ourselves from this? What do we have to do? What do we not have to do? You're the guy. You're the guy causing all these issues. This is what I was afraid of. Can the Jets survive whatever drama he brings now that he's found his outside voice, and will he play well enough that it's not going to matter? This is now a thing for the next 6-7 months as we get into the regular season in the NFL.
No, and that's the thing is that, he's a guy that has decided he's in that phase of his career where he's going to be himself, for better, for worse, right? You had a couple of years in Green Bay where it was threatening of retirement and all of the discord. I'm going to stay away from the squad. And then he goes away, and now he's very supportive of Jordan Love. But you see the difference a year makes with, a guy that shows up for all the practices. And while he's on McAfee's couch, and this is the great debate, right, a kayfabe. I don't say it's, imagined and a false, teleplay for anybody. But, both are leaning into it to a degree. Rodgers tried to say at the end, I kind of hope that's the end and whatever. But ball will be back in Kimmel's court. I know it was taped a little bit earlier. We'll see what starts flowing out of tonight's episode, as it were. Both guys getting some heat. Executives in the building deciding whether the NWO spray paint works or not. But for Rodgers, yeah, you're going to have to wear this. Eventually, he'll have to go back and play some football. But what should concern you even more was that you had guys like Garrett Wilson speaking out. You had other players that kind of raised their hand going, this is a bunch of nonsense, right? Wilson saying it was the worst year of his life. That's a pretty big statement from a guy who's a second-year NFL player.
Well, the guy made it to the NFL. He's been a big star. Eventually, you're going to have a bad year. But now he's going to number 5. So Devontae Adams or Shohei Ohtani can wear 17.
Well, as long as Shohei shows up, he can do double duty. You don't need him to throw in year one, so that's good. But legitimately, this is what you bought in for. You already leaned in. You already gave him personnel control, and I have no doubt he'll be pulling the strings as well. It's like all the nonsense in Denver. It's like, oh, this was completely, independent. Like, you're all full of garbage. Nobody believes anything you're selling. Likewise, if you're telling me it's all Joe Douglas and no Aaron Rodgers, I mean, just, go Pinocchio. You're full on lying, and none of us are dumb enough to believe it. But, yeah, this is what you signed up for. Good luck. We'll watch the pain as you roll through it into 2024.
They bought Rodgers, and now you buy the nonsense that goes along with it. It's just, this is every day now. This is why what I have is the Knicks, and the Knicks may never lose again. Mike Vrabel is let go as Titans head coach.
Bye, Felicia.
Bit of a shocker. Amy Adams-Strunk making the difficult decision to part ways, according to Amy Adams-Strunk, who is the owner of the Titans. They could have potentially looked into a trade for Mike Vrabel, but wanted to move on, didn't want to wait and see what it was going to be about. So they made the call to fire Mike Vrabel.
Did that seem odd to you at all? Like that full disclosure of, it was going to be a bit complicated, so to hell with it, let's just be done with it. You have a guy that is considered one of the top coaches in the game, and that's too much of an issue?
Well, let's break it down, because joining us now is a guy who is following the plane of Mike Vrabel as it lands in New England for his head coaching interview. It is longtime NFL insider. Check him out on Odyssey. 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, Washington Post, Jason La Canfora. What's happening, Jay?
What's going on, guys? I was yelling in the phone. I wasn't sure if you had come to me or not, but you got me all fired up. Look, I've been writing about this Washington Post since October. I mean, this was not a surprise in the least. This relationship was going nowhere between this owner and this coach. He knows her franchise is going nowhere. He knows she's done spending money on that team and has been for a while. And, yeah, why would I fight and claw and try to get some draft picks, free capital, I'll just let them build me a $1.5 billion stadium. I'll just mortgage the hell out of all these taxpayers. Why would I put anything back in the team? Like, that might take weeks. I mean, that could be whole weeks where we had to, like, work and find out what our coach is worth. Let's just work an agreement out and cut him loose, and I'll bring somebody in making way less than I had to pay him. And, who cares? It's just a football product. It's just a draft pick. I mean, it's just like a second or third round draft pick. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Jimmy Haslam spent, $12 million for a second round pick? Wasn't that the Brock Osweiler trade? It's just a draft pick. Good luck, Titans fans. You're stuck with that for a long time.
Hey,
good luck.
We have 6 or 7 of these every year. We don't need another one. How would that help us? That's not.
Dude, whatever.
So what does this mean for the Pat? Look, we had Belichick say yesterday, if changes need to happen, change needs to happen, whether he's talking about on the staff, himself, something else. Now Vrabel is free. Does this free things up for Vrabel to go succeed Belichick now in New England?
Yeah. I mean, look, it would make a lot of sense. I don't think it's his only option. It's certainly not Robert Kraft's only option. I think that the track that Belichick and Kraft have been on has been going on for a long time, about as long as maybe not quite as long as the Vrabel Strunk thing, but close enough. So, that they've done a lot to get it there. I mean, that Kraft Belichick thing is unique, and we'll never see anything like it. So that's not one that you wrap up 12 hours after the season and send out a press release and say, Godspeed, Arthur Smith. Like, this is a little different. So, it was never going to be wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It wasn't going to be thank you for your service, get out. And we'll see. I don't think these conversations that they're having are going to lead to Bill Belichick staying there as the head coach, without personnel. I'd be surprised if that's the outcome. That's always seemed unlikely to people I've been talking to about this situation for months. Could it happen? Sure. It ain't over till it's over, but I think it's pretty close to over. And he's going to be sitting there, Robert Kraft, on a draft pick with a means to get a quarterback who could be immediately generational. And that's, one more reason why that job is attractive. But, you've also got situations like the Chargers where there's already an elite quarterback with, financial security. You know what he's going to cost you. He's a fixed cost moving forward. And that's incredibly attractive. And I think Mike Vrabel is going to have plenty of options here.